India's education system is one of the largest in the world, encompassing millions of students across schools, colleges, and universities. While the country boasts top institutions such as the Indian Institutes of Technology and Indian Institutes of Management, these are exceptions in a landscape marked by deep inequalities and inefficiencies. A significant portion of the youth feels that academic education has become a commodified enterprise that lacks relevance and rigor. The phrase academic education is a scam is provocative, but captures widespread frustration. Herein, we delve into the reasons why such sentiments have surfaced, looking into various dimensions of the academic system in India, from admissions to outcomes, and the rising commercial nature of the education sector. Let's begin with a historical context. India has a long history of valuing education, from the ancient learning centers like Nalanda and Takshashila to the Gurukul system, where holistic learning was imparted. However, with the advent of British colonial rule, the education system was transformed to serve colonial administrative needs. After independence, India aimed to create a more equitable system, yet issues of access, quality, and relevance persisted. In the late 20th and early 21st centuries, the liberalization of India's economy saw the rapid growth of private institutions. These institutions, many of which operate for profit, have led to the widespread commercialization of education, leading to concerns that higher education is more about profit than learning. Secondly, academic education as a business in India. One of the biggest criticisms of India's academic education system is its exorbitant cost. Education in private institutions, which have proliferated, is often priced beyond the reach of the middle class. Private universities and coaching institutes charge astronomical fees, making education inaccessible for a large section of society. For instance, an engineering or medical degree from a private college can cost upwards of 10 lakhs, not including the additional costs of living, books, and resources. At the same time, government institutions are unable to meet the demand. As a result, many students are forced into the private sector, which often prioritizes profit over educational quality. This situation leaves many families in financial distress, taking loans to afford degrees that may not lead to commensurate employment opportunities. Thirdly, employability crisis, or degrees without jobs. One of the most glaring failures of the current system is the disconnection between academic qualifications and employability. A 2019 study by Aspiring Minds showed that 80% of Indian engineers were unfit for jobs in the knowledge economy. Similar statistics are reported in other fields. Despite the country producing millions of graduates every year, companies often struggle to find candidates with the necessary skills. This mismatch between education and employment opportunities has fueled the perception that academic degrees are meaningless. Many educational institutions focus more on rote learning and theoretical knowledge than on practical, real-world skills. As a result, students spend years obtaining degrees, but remain unemployed or underemployed. Fourthly, proliferation of fake and low-quality institutions. A significant contributor to the scam narrative is the proliferation of low-quality, unregulated institutions. Many private colleges in India are little more than degree mills, offering subpar education but charging high fees. These institutions exploit the aspirations of students, offering degrees that hold little value in the job market. The situation is further exacerbated by the prevalence of corruption in the admissions process. Fake degrees, under-the-table admissions, and nepotism are not uncommon. This not only erodes trust in the education system, but also devalues legitimate degrees. Fifthly, coaching culture. One of the more insidious aspects of India's education system is the rise of coaching institutes. These institutions have become parallel educational entities, promising to prepare students for competitive exams like JEE, NEET, and UPSC. Parents often spend their life savings on these coaching classes, further adding to the financial burden of education. The focus of these coaching institutes is not on holistic learning or intellectual development, but on exam-centric preparation. Students often spend years preparing for a single exam, with little focus on other life skills or education. This reinforces the idea that education is a transaction, one that, if failed, results in wasted years and huge financial losses. Sixthly, digital divide or unequal access to education. In recent years, especially with the advent of the COVID-19 pandemic, online education has emerged as an alternative. However, this too has laid bare the inequalities in Indian education. While urban students with access to high-speed internet and digital devices can take advantage of online learning, rural and economically disadvantaged students are left behind. This digital divide further perpetuates inequality, as access to quality education becomes more about financial and geographical privilege than merit. Seventhly, government failures and policy issues. Despite numerous policies and initiatives aimed at reforming education, the government has largely failed to address the core issues. Schemes such as the Right to Education, RTE, have improved enrollment, but the quality of education remains dismal. Additionally, government funding for education is insufficient, leading to inadequate infrastructure, underpaid teachers, and a lack of resources in public institutions. The new education policy, NEP 2020, while promising reforms, has yet to show significant impact. Critics argue that without a systemic overhaul, the policy will merely scratch the surface of deep-rooted problems. Now the way forward: reform or revolution. Addressing the issues of cost, quality, and employability will require a multidimensional approach. Some potential solutions include: Number 1. Reforming admissions and examinations, moving away from rote learning and exam-centric systems towards more holistic, skill-based evaluation. Number 2. Regulating private institutions, ensuring stricter oversight of private colleges to prevent the spread of low-quality institutions. Number 3. Investment in public education, increasing government funding to improve infrastructure, teacher salaries, and resources in public schools and universities. Number 4. Skill-based education, focusing on vocational and practical skills that align with industry demands rather than solely on academic qualifications. Number 5. Digital equity, expanding access to online education and resources, especially for rural and economically disadvantaged students. Altogether, while it is extreme to label the entire academic system in India as a scam, there are certainly elements of it that feel exploitative to students and their families. The issues of high costs, low employability, and the commercialization of education have led many to feel that they are not receiving fair value for their investment in education. For India to truly realize its potential as a global knowledge hub, it will need to address these systemic issues and create an education system that is accessible, affordable, and relevant to the demands of the 21st century. Thanks for watching. Do subscribe to our channel, Sociopedia.